Hey guys, it's Vishal and Charmy with Triangle Life Realty. I just wanted to start a series of cooking videos for you guys, especially Indian food. A lot of people ask us how you can make certain dishes. So we're going to start off with the most popular, right? The most popular street food in India, in the north, from Punjab, chickpeas, along with some spiced water. So we forgot that we were going to record this video and already made the spiced water. This is like 75 ounces worth. You don't really need to make that much, but as you can see, let's try this. It's got a green color to it. So what we do is, this is traditionally eaten as a snack, or if you want as an appetizer at a party, that would work too. But I'm gonna go with the proportions that would probably feed 4 to 5 people for a full-on meal. And to do that, the amount of water you'll need is about 70 ounces. You just take regular tap water or whatever water you want to use. And then you'll take another about 8 ounces of water and add a bunch of mint. And literally you'll buy the mint in bunches. You can find it at Asian stores, Indian stores, and grocery stores. Although I think grocery stores are going to see it more in that little package. So you might need 2 packages of that if that's the route you choose to go with. What you'll do is you'll put the mint in with that 8 ounces of water, put it in a blender, and just pulverize it.
Take only the leaves. You do not want the stalk.
No, yeah. See, I don't do that part. That's why she's here.
Any of this.
You'll mix that in with the 70 ounces of water you have initially. And then you'll also take cilantro.
Mm-hmm.
How much?
I would say about a handful.
Handful of cilantro. Stems are fine for that.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to pulverize that too?
No, you're just going to dice it really fine. Mince it.
Mince it and add it. And then you're going to add some seasonings, which you'll need to go to an Indian store to get. It's called, you'll see it there, 5 to 80 ounces total. You'll add about 2 to 3 teaspoons. 2 to 3 tablespoons.
Mm-hmm.
And it's based on your level of how much spice you like, how much salt you like. So taste it as you go. And you're going to do this the night before you plan to eat it.
You also want to add 1 chili to it, depending on the amount of heat. If you like, see that he doesn't make this.
I don't make it. That's okay.
And you also want to add about 1.5 thumbs of ginger. You want to grate it really fine.
I should know that. I'm the one who does the grating.
Yes. And squeeze the juice in. You don't want the strands of the ginger in there.
Don't worry. Because I don't know all of the steps, and she doesn't know all the steps that we do either for each particular step, what we're going to do is I'll post the recipe under the video. So don't worry. You'll get all the information you need. So you make this the night before, just mix it all together, store it in the fridge, and let it steep. The longer the better. We make a chutney. So chutney is just a sauce, a topping that you put on meals. It's very popular. Also find it at some of the local Triangle grocery stores, Teeter, Food Lion, Kroger, and Publix. They might have it, they might not, you never know. And then of course that big blue box store, they tend to have a lot of international ingredients as well, so you could always look there if you don't have an Indian store close by. But if you're in the Triangle, you should definitely have about 100 to choose from. I don't think the Asian store has it, does it?
I'm sure they do. We just haven't looked for it.
Great Asian Mart, Grand Asian Mart, they might have it too. A lot of the stuff you can get there. So 15 dates, and you'll take about 4 tablespoons. So about 15 dates, 4 tablespoons of this tamarind concentrate. And there are different brands. You don't have to get this one. We just grew up eating Tamacon, but there's 3 or 4 other brands that you'll see at the store. They should all be just as good. And then you'll add about
10 ounces. You just want to pretty much submerge the dates in there.
And what you can do with this mixture is you're going to have to put it into a press, make sure to take out the pits once they're cooked. And then, I should mention this to do the night before as well. We've got the hummus and whatnot. So these ones are actually, we call them kala chana. This is what the bag looks like at the store. Or I guess they're called desi chickpeas as well. Who knows? But they're dried and they're very tiny. So there's one straggler left in the bag that I can show.
He's a runner.
Yep. Very tiny, very small, and a dark brown color. So what you're going to want to do is soak them overnight. We used, I would say for this, you'll need about 2.5 cups. This is more. We plan to use it for salads and whatnot. They make a great topping in salads as well. So just soak it overnight. You'll see they did increase in size a little bit, but they're still not ready to go. So these also need to be cooked in the pressure cooker. So we're just going to combine them. Our pressure cooker, luckily, is big enough. So we're taking the chickpeas. Got a plate to separate that and the date and tamarind mixture. I think we need to add more water. If you've never used a pressure cooker before, they can be complicated, but they're actually pretty easy. There are a lot of different types at the store. Ours is about 6 years old now, so I can show you the cover. Ours has this kind of cover. There's about 4 other kinds that we see at the store now. Can't really explain how to use all of them. But you'll put a bunch of water in there. You put your food items. Also, you'll include water in the bowl with the food items, just so that it doesn't dry out. Close the lid. Make sure the pressure is going to build up. And for this mixture, we're going to cook it for about 45 minutes on high. So make sure you put a lot of water. You really can't go wrong with that. You just put it on high and let it go. It'll whistle, it'll scream and hiss at you, but it'll be fine. So let it go for about 40 to 45 minutes, turn it off, wait a couple minutes, and then we'll discuss how to safely take it off without burning yourself. Okay, so the next step will be making the actual puris, the fried balls. There's dog number 2 for us. He's our youngest, Munchkin. Say hi, buddy. Say hi. Hi. Okay. Okay, Buff. Here you go. Here's our older dog, Buff. Say hi, buddy. He's hoping to get some food. He'll probably get one at the end of the night, but not right now. Okay. So we'll need to make the puris 2 ingredients. So 3 ingredients, actually, if you include the water. The first is called suji, which is just semolina. Again, Indian store, Asian store, a lot of those big box stores and grocery stores, you'll find it. And there's different types. This one, if you can find it, you want to use fine. It's a very, very fine crush or grind of it. You can also find the coarse one. If you want to use the coarse one, you can, but you'll have to knead the dough a lot more to try to break it up and soften it as you go. And then you're going to take half a cup of just regular all-purpose flour. Stuff them when you're eating them. Okay, so you can see we've got our mixture in there. Just give it a, what I do, I'm not a big fan of getting my hands too messy. I just take a fork, so that's your technique that Charmy's mom uses, and I picked it up from her. My mom used to just make me do it with my hand. Hated it, but that's okay. Quickly mix it up, and then we use warm water, just mix it in. Like with all dough, you want to go little amounts at a time, that way you don't get too watery of a dough. You can always add more, you can't take it out, right? So you just mix it up, it'll become clumpy, it's not going to be fully incorporated.
Yeah. Zoom in the camera so they can see?
Yeah, figured, I mean, if you want to.
Yeah. Oh, you can see the process.
So it's pretty clumpy as I mix it. And it's going to stay like that. I have added about, I'd say 4 to 5 ounces right now. And I'm probably at the point where now I'm stuck using my hand. Let's really see how much we can incorporate this. So I start off using this bowl because it's easy to mix it to start with. Again, just kind of combining. Somewhere in that 5 to 6 range looks to be the magic number. And it's going to feel really gritty. I mean, it's basically the texture of sand, but it'll eventually form into a nice dough ball.
You don't want to use too much water because it will cause your puris to be oily or to be soggy or not crisp up.
Okay, so now I've formed it, for the most part, into a ball. It's not ready to go yet, it's just kind of combined. And I've gotten all the components out of the bowl. Now, if you're comfortable kneading it in the bowl, go right ahead. this kind of is not a comfortable position for me, so I will switch to a flat surface. And you could just use a donut. Ours aren't quite clean enough to do that right now, so I'm just switching to a good old plate. Focus on the ball around me and just kneading it. Kind of the way you would knead pasta, I guess, and a lot of other doughs, bread dough. You want to kind of, side angle, push it down and then out. Do this for about, I would say 5 minutes is what it comes out to be. And then we will show you what the finished ball of dough looks like. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes now since we've worked with the dough. Let me show you what it looks like. It's a lot smoother. As you can see, texture is kind of broken down. Now it's more of what you would have with a pizza dough, pretzel dough, any other bread dough. So we used about 5 ounces of water. While we were kneading it, we needed to add a little bit more. So what we just did was put some water on your hand if you feel that it's dry and knead it in. Eventually the dough will take up that water, and you don't dry dough, you see the residue. That means you need a little bit more water, so just soak your hand. If you see the chunks come out, if it's really sticky, and if you go like that and the dough's coming apart, that means you've got too much water and you need to add some more flour. Go with the all-purpose flour, it'll be the easiest to incorporate. So as you can see, it doesn't stick, pinches, stays. I can pull my hand away without a problem. Once you've made the dough, cover it with a wet napkin, tea cloth, whatever you're going to use. Just you want to keep it moist, you don't want it to dry out. You just pinch off a bunch of it and kind of roll it out as you would a pretzel. It's a little stick. And then you pinch off pieces. This is about middle finger, index finger size, something small. You don't want them to be too big. If you make it thumb size, I'll make one like that. Here's a thumb size ball. We'll see what happens when you flatten it out. So I've got about 10 pieces here in a plate. And now we'll go to press them. You've got a couple different options. If you don't have a press, that's fine. Grab a rolling pin and the counter, or a flat, smooth, not a textured cutting board. You can just roll them out to a very thin size. This is the way we used to do it. We just actually bought a tortilla press from the online retailer who used to just sell books. Now they sell everything else on earth. So it was 25 bucks. It's cast iron. We chose to go with cast iron because you can use the weight and it helps you with the press. You don't have to put as much energy. There's some cheaper ones that were about 15 bucks. I heard through the reviews there that you have to put some more energy into it though. We took a Ziploc bag and just cut off the sides. Put a little bit of oil, regardless of what medium you use, paper or plastic. And then about an inch off center towards the lever, because these are small, you don't have to worry about it really getting pressed off the unit. Put some oil on both sides of the bag, fold it over, close the press. See, I haven't even done anything. And you can see it's pressed a little bit. Push down a little bit. I'm not putting that much pressure, just kind of a quick 1-2 on it, and you see it is pressed out to a pretty thin size. And that's basically what you want. So this is actually a really small one. So maybe, do you want it to be thinner? This is actually kind of thick, actually. I'll put it back in, put a little more pressure. There we go. Now I've flattened out even more. Don't know how much of a difference you can tell, but it is really thin now. I'm going to go with one of those larger size ones so you can see the difference. Honestly, the size is up to you. See what's comfortable, because these are meant to be eaten in a single bite. Now this is still a bit thick. So what I'm going to do is rotate it to even it out. But this will be more of a traditional size that you'd find on the streets. There you go. Now it's a little big, but you know, not that big a deal. Still going to work just as well. It should puff up when you fry it. Oil, that's just something we both grew up with. You can use whatever oil you're comfortable with. It'll all work just as well. Whoop. Be careful.
Flatten that out.
But that probably did do the trick. Yeah, I didn't put too much effort into that second press, and We don't recommend doing that though. You will get hurt most likely. One person, do 5 to 7 at a time. That way you don't overcrowd your oil. So as I mentioned, we're using canola oil. You can use a thermometer if you want and get to that 350-ish temperature range. I just go with the test method, so I just grab a little bit of dough, tiny little dot, toss it in, and oh yeah, it's definitely ready to go. It's probably that little piece puffed up, which you don't usually expect.
That's pretty awesome.
So what we're going to do is grab them and start the process. Try to get out of the glare. Focus on the oil if you can. There you go. So what you want them to do is puff up. If you notice that they're struggling a little bit, like I did with that one, just push down on it. So it's not puffing up, so just push it a little bit gently. You don't want to kill it. And eventually, you'll notice it. Yep. So, come on. He's not going to puff up. But this guy over here actually puffed up enough that it flipped on its own. Miss that for a little bit, a couple minutes. You want to try to fry them pretty quickly after you make them. And if they get a little thick, they're going to tend to not puff up either. So what you'll do is you just want to keep them going until they brown. So I don't know if you can tell with that one. This guy here browned nicely. So you can see they're nice golden brown on the one side now. Now our color is not necessarily the best, but compared to that, that's much paler. These are more golden color. So it'll take about 1.5 to 2 minutes per side is what it tends to take. So as you can see here, we've got about 2 batches fried now. They didn't all puff up. A lot of them did. A lot of them stayed half puffed and half flat. It might take you some time to get into a rhythm, but don't worry, you'll eventually figure it out. So as we mentioned, we're trying to use the tortilla press, but in order to expedite and to show you guys how rolling it goes, we're going to hand roll it through as well. So sorry for the camera, but make sure to cover both your surface and your rolling pin with oil. That way you don't have any sticking occurring. I'm going to go fry these while you don't do that.
So you want to put it in the middle. You want to do long strokes. Then just put it back on the pan or the rolling surface. You just keep going until you get the thinness that you want. You just want to use long strokes. You don't want to go over it back and forth.
You should be able to see the plate or whatever you're putting the flat ones on. So I'll show them. Beneath the 2 flattened balls. So that's a good indicator. Kind of a window pane effect. We're just going to continue to, she's going to roll them, I'm going to flatten them so we can bang these out as quick as possible. Expect to make about 100 to 150 depending on the size with the amount of dough that we made. Alrighty guys, we just finished frying up our last batch of puris, so you can see here. That's our final batch. They came out one of the best. You know, that's the golden brown color that you want. You don't want them to be too dark. I got some of them over here which did get a little bit darker, but hey, they're still edible, it's still going to be good. Okay, our pressure cooker is done. I wanted to show you a safe way of depressurizing. However, mine did not need to be depressurized for some reason. Usually, you'll see some sort of indicator on ours. This little yellow thing right here pops out. That means there's too much pressure. There are 2 ways of doing it, of depressurizing. One is just waiting it out, let the pot cool down, and eventually you'll see the indicator go down. Once you see that, it's safe to open without risking the steam or even water spraying up into your face. The other is just take the hot pot, put it into an empty sink, and run cold water on it, again, until the indicator goes down. So either way will work. If you have the time, you might as well just let it sit and do its thing. If you're looking to get all your meal quicker, then pour some hot or cold water on it, sorry. So what we got from it, we got the chickpeas. I just poured it out, rinsed it through the water. You can see they're a little bit bigger in size, and they should just squish just easily. So they are done and ready to go. And then we've got our dates. So what we're going to need to do with the dates, because we did not take the pits out for ours first. That's probably not going to help. So the dates are nice. They're really soft. So just pulling, sometimes if you pull the tip out where the stem is, the pit will come with it. If not, then try, all right, this one doesn't have a pit. Gently just squeeze it open and you see the pit comes out. I'm going to just use a handheld mixer. We have one. If you need to use a blender, go right ahead. Anything's going to work. I mean, you're going to get it until it's smooth and just a straight watery mixture. Now this will be very thick and concentrated. As you can see, I've got it ground to a pretty thick mixture right now, so I'm going to add a little bit of water so it'll move around a little bit more. Not that much, maybe 2 ounces of water. And you can see it mixing more nicely. Right, as you can see, it is a very thick paste. Doesn't even come off. But this, I'm going to taste it. Pretty spot on.
You could use more water.
Too thick for a paste even?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we need to add even more water to this. Another 2 ounces or so. And then it'll be ready to use, and you're going to mix it in with the water mixture we made last night. Now if you don't end up using it all, which is completely fine, we say add a little bit too thick for you to use in an application like that. Alternatively, if you don't want to buy the dates and do this complicated process of making the chutney, you could buy the concentrate, tamarind concentrate, or actually you can even buy the chutney from the store itself. They come pre-made and they're pretty good. So that's one way of doing it. Or if you want to buy the tamarind concentrate, you can then buy some apple butter. Mix about 2 tablespoons of the concentrate to 4 ounces of apple butter. Throw in about 2 ounces of water and bring it to a boil. When it's boiling, you can let it boil for about a minute, then shut it off. Add a little bit of the cumin mixture and some salt for flavor, and let it cool down. It'll be good to go. So it won't be the same, but it'll be very similar. It'll give you the same effect. Also, on the stove right now, we've got potatoes. I took about 5 medium potatoes, and this is once they're done, you want to get them into a mashed potato type consistency. So you want them to be very soft and mushy, and you're going to mix that with the chickpeas that we did earlier. We'll show you what the final product looks like. Alright, so what I did here was just mash up the chickpeas a little bit. You just want them to get soft and tender. So that looks like this. We got peppers and leaves with some stems in there. So we'll just take that, toss it in. As you can see, the spatula is not working too well, so go with something more sturdy, wooden spoon, plastic spoon, metal. Something that'll hold its shape and not give. And you just want to incorporate it. Then we add some spice to it. So you're going to take the exact same spices that you used to make the water yesterday. And for this quantity, you will add about 2 heaping teaspoonsfuls, should do the trick. Now, remember, this is not the only thing that's going to be adding the flavor to the dish. A lot of it's coming from the water and tamarind chutney mixture. Salt, because that's something you could obviously add based on your taste. So once it's in, let's say 2 heaping spoons worked really well for this. So now all you got to do is put it together and enjoy it. What you'll do is first get your water again. And usually after it's been sitting a while, You might see a green foam on top from the spice mixture and the cilantro and everything just raising to the top. That's completely fine. All you got to do is start off with 1 tablespoon. Just toss it in there and mix it together. You'll start to see the color turn to a darker color, obviously, of the greenish brown mixture. I'm going to add some more. We like it a touch sweeter than this, so I would say add another tablespoon or 3 teaspoons in there. And again, add as much or as little as you want based on your own preference. And we're starting to get the color that I would anticipate now. Much more of a brownish color than it is green, just because that's such a heavy concentrate.
Oh, so good.
There you go. The water is perfect. So 2 tablespoons of that very thick paste. You're going to have a lot of that left over. So again, you can bottle it up. It'll last for quite a while in the fridge, and you won't have to worry about it. You can take it out and use it for whatever meal you want. So now, all that's left is putting it together. Grab one of them. This is the final product. You see it puffed up nicely. You're going to see one end is thicker than the other. So just go to the thin end, break it apart, nice crisp, and then you're going to take some of the filling. We like to fill it. Just put it right in there. So now it's filled nicely, and then you have the water mixture in a bowl. Now we eat with our hands, so we just take it and dunk it in. I didn't even get enough water. Pour it in there. You're going to fill it up with as much water as possible. And it is ready to go, good to eat.
Oh no.
That's
I'm going to
perfect.
for a while.
That's good to go. So there you have it. You can take it. If you're serving it for a party or a bunch of people, I would suggest putting the filling in to the dough, the fried dough balls. Don't put the water in. Let people put the water in themselves, because it will get soggy and then you're just going to lose the crispness and you just have a bigger mess. So serve the water separately and they can put in as much or as little as they want. And there you go. There you have it. You've got Gol Gappe / Panipuri ready to go. So until next time, it's Vishal and Charmy. Thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, please feel free to shoot me an email. All the information is below. And if you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, or invest in real estate, you know who to call. We can help.